Why didn't anyone tell us this earlier? As we age, our bodies change, and that's okay, but sex remains an important part of intimacy, joy, and even health. In this video, we'll go over 5 things many older adults wish they had known sooner. This isn't about youth, and it's about life, and life goes on until the very end. Sometimes I want to start with simple words. You know, not everything we thought was normal when we were young stays normal later on, and that's my first piece of advice, or rather a gentle reminder. As we age, the body changes, and what once felt familiar in our sex lives may no longer feel that way. Many of my patients ask, why even bother with sex if I can't, like before? But the thing is, sex isn't just about erections or intercourse. Intimacy is broader, and it still holds room for joy. About 5 years ago, a couple from Arizona came to see me. Bill, 74, and his wife Elaine, 70. He was withdrawn and quiet. She looked a bit lost. He said, I just can't do it and I'm ashamed. And you know what happened? We talked. I explained that physical closeness doesn't have to follow a script. A few months later, Bill told me they'd started cuddling every evening before bed, no expectations, just as a ritual. Then came massages, shared baths, evening walks, and even laughter. They called it our second intimacy. Another patient of mine, Ray, 69, from Florida, also thought it was all over. So until one day his wife said, I just want to feel your palm on my cheek. What often helps is giving yourself permission to be close in a different way. Start with something simple. Place your hand on your partner's shoulder. Lie down together. Offer a foot massage. Talk about what you both feel. Let it be without goals or urgency. Warmth isn't measured by strength. It's in the intention, the touch, the attention. Even just holding someone's hand creates intimacy. And at this stage of life, it can feel deeper than ever before. The second thing I often discuss with women, dryness is not a sentence. It's simply a signal. A very common, very treatable, and completely normal one. After menopause, the mucous membrane becomes thinner. Less natural lubrication is produced, and this can cause discomfort, burning, even pain during intimacy. Many women don't talk about this with their partners or doctors, considering it a shameful topic. But they shouldn't, because there is a solution. One day, Mary came to see me, 66 years old, from a small town in North Carolina. Her eyes were full of sadness. Doctor, she said, my husband and I used to be like teenagers, but now I'm just afraid it'll hurt again. I listened and suggested starting with something simple, a water-based moisturizer. No hormones, no prescription needed. A month later, she wrote to me, we held hands again and then our hearts. Another patient of mine, Nancy, 72, from Texas, went a little further. With her gynecologist's permission, she tried a low-dose hormonal cream. Her words were simple. I felt like a woman again. One of the easiest and most accessible steps is to use a vaginal moisturizing cream or gel. It's available in any pharmacy and doesn't require a prescription. You can use it regularly, even outside of intimacy, simply for comfort. Your body deserves gentleness. Just as fine fabric needs delicate washing, the intimate area needs care and attention. And you have every right to feel comfortable, always. The third thing that's important to know, medications can affect sexual desire and function, but that's not a sentence, especially for those over 60 when most people are already on regular prescriptions. For blood pressure, heart conditions, diabetes, or anxiety, all of these can lower libido, cause erectile difficulties, or dull sensitivity. Many people accept this as just a part of aging and silently give up on intimacy, though the real reason lies in side effects. Many years ago, I worked at a senior clinic, and a man named George, 73, from Michigan came in. He was candid. I don't feel like a man, and honestly, I don't know what's wrong with me. We reviewed his medications. It turned out he was taking beta blockers and an I-2 antidepressant. Alongside his physician, we adjusted the treatment plan, and a month later, George returned with a smile. You can't imagine what it feels like to simply want again. A similar case was Walter, 76, from Ohio. He'd lost interest and blamed his age, until he discovered that a diuretic was the cause. Changing the medication restored not just intimacy, but his confidence too. What often helps is an honest conversation with your doctor about side effects. Don't be afraid. These changes are not uncommon in older adults, and adjusting the treatment can make a big difference. The key is not to stay silent or think this is just how it is. Medications are meant to help. They shouldn't steal your joy. Sometimes a small adjustment is all it takes to hear the music in your body again. And it will play, differently but truly. Now, something that's talked about the least, but to me it's one of the most important things: emotional intimacy. It's not about pills or the body, it's about the soul. Very often, people over 60 feel they've lost not only physical desire, but even the need to be close. Some are afraid of feeling awkward, some have gone through loss, some carry shame or old wounds. All of this gets in the way of opening up, of saying something simple. I miss warmth. I remember when Linda, 70, from Seattle, came to see me. Her voice trembled. I don't know how to be close again. I've been a widow for 9 years. Everything feels wrong. We just talked. After a few sessions, she shared that she'd met a man, Tom, at a neighbor's party. He was just as quiet and cautious. They started with walks, then tea together. One day, she told me, I took his hand and nothing exploded, but inside I felt calm. Another patient of mine, Mark, 68, from Vermont, after his divorce, was afraid to even be looked at. We worked on his self-esteem. 6 months later, he wrote, I'm no longer afraid to feel alive. One of the kindest and most accessible steps is to begin speaking, to say, I'm nervous, but I want to be close, or I miss intimacy, but I don't know how to begin. These words are a bridge, and a bridge can always be crossed together. Old age is not emptiness, it's silence. And into that silence you can let someone in. Intimacy begins with honesty, and it has no expiration date. It lasts as long as you're alive. And now let me speak about something that seems simple but changes so much in practice: movement. It may sound unexpected, but physical activity directly affects sexual health. Why? Because circulation, flexibility, breathing, all of this gives the body energy, confidence, and even desire. When a person stops moving for a long time, they lose not only strength, but also the sense of themselves. And intimacy, above all, is contact with one's own body. I work with many older adults, and here's what I notice. Once they add even light exercise, everything begins to shift: their posture, their gaze, their mood. For example, Dorothy, 67, from Denver, came to me complaining about losing interest in life. We started with the basics: 15 minutes of slow walking 3 times a week and a few breathing exercises. A month later, she said, I suddenly enjoyed touching myself again. I remembered how much I love a bath with salts. Her husband noticed she started laughing again. Or Jim, 71, from Florida, a former driver, in constant pain. But after trying a gentle yoga routine for seniors, he suddenly confessed, I started looking at my wife with new eyes. One of the simplest steps is to add 5 to 10 minutes of gentle activity to your day: stretching, walking around the room, Kegel exercises. It doesn't require strength, only attention and kindness toward yourself. The body is like an old garden. If you water it, flowers can bloom even after winter. And you are that garden. And every step you take toward yourself gives something beautiful a chance to blossom again. Sex after 60 isn't a myth. It's another chapter, no less meaningful than the ones before, just different. Share in the comments what resonated with you. Subscribe if you want more honest, caring conversations.